Thank you for tuning into the Faceless Podcast. I go by the name of Shepherd. My friends call me Sheps, but you can call me whatever you want. As long as it's not Oi, the likelihood is high that I'll respond. Now, before I go any further, thank you to everyone that tuned in to the audio podcast that we put out, me and my friend Clarence. Thank you to everyone that's been tuning into the other videos as well. I'm loving that some of you are now starting to get involved in the comments as well. Just keep the conversation going. As you know, what we're here to promote is diversity of thought. Before we go into what I want to discuss today, which I think is highly important, by the way, you already know the drill. Scroll up. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe. It just helps the algorithm say, you know what, maybe this guy's not talking nonsense after all. Let's share this to more like-minded people. Now, I've been toying with the idea actually of going live on either YouTube or Facebook or any other platform really. So do leave your thoughts in the comments if you'd want me to see a live. Additionally, if you do want me to see, if you do want to see me go live, what topics would you like for me to touch on when I do go live? So I'll leave that one up to you. So guys, before we go ahead, I want to play this video to give you some context. So we're going to play this video now.
About the whole in the narrative. Calling me names is not helping you. Be kind and then explain. Why there are holes in the narrative? I am not Allah. Allah is Satan.
You come here
Do I look like Allah?
Why do you come here
Do I look like Muhammad? No.
You're talking about your dad.
Why
Maybe your
are
granddad
you
looks
so
like that.
upset?
Maybe your dad looks like that. I don't know. Be honest.
If
Be truthful.
my
Does your dad
father
look
is
like
Muhammad,
that?
have
Does your dad
respect
look
to the
like
dog.
that?
Now, you might be thinking, looking at this video going, Shepherd, why does this matter to me? Or, even more importantly, why have I not seen this? Why is this not breaking news on BBC, Sky News, or whatever mainstream outlets they are? Now, what I want to describe to you is what's going on there. And as you know, we've highly promote diversity of thought with the Faceless Nation, where it's what's up here that matters. We don't have to look the same to think the same or think different. So now what's going on there? I want to give you a bit of context. So that video, that clip was taken from DCCI Ministries, which are a Christian polemics and apologetics channel. So they've been around for a very long time. What they do is basically engage with people from other religions, mainly Islam, but other religions as well, defending Christianity from an academic standpoint, and also I want to say attack, but attack is not really the right word for it because it makes it seem violent in its nature. But effectively, look at the philosophy of these other religions. If either hold the people accountable to their own standards or debunk why does this not make sense. Why is Christianity the way forward and why is Islam, for example, not the way forward? Which I think is very healthy discussion. I think this should be lauded. I think this should be in our schools. I think this should be in our universities, because instead of just saying, oh my days, we're scared of upsetting people, we should actually be teaching people you can have these discussions with people that disagree, and you can agree to disagree, walk away from the situation. You've learnt, they've learnt, we're all smarter for it. So now this lady is called Hatun Tash. She's very brave, very brave. I want to give my props out to her because I don't know if many of us, maybe myself included, will have the bravery to go stand there and kind of criticize, number one, Islam, knowing the backlash you could get from that, and number two, just to be heckled. She does this week in, week out, and she's got the mission that she's on. I'll give you some more information about her later, but what I want to do, why is this important? Because recently there's been a lot of talk about free speech, there's been a lot of talk about censorship, there's been a lot of talk about oppressing people, denying them their rights. Now, where this video took place is a historical place called Speaker's Corner, which is found in Hyde Park. So I mean, we'll go into a little bit more information about Speaker's Corner. So I mean, with Speaker's Corner, so, I mean, I'll just read this straight from Wikipedia just to give you a little bit more information. So, Speaker's Corner is an area of open-air speaking. Debates, discussions are allowed the original and best known is the northwest corner of Hyde Park in London. Historically, there are a number of other areas designated as Speaker's Corner in other parks in London, such as Lincoln's Inn Field, Finsbury Park, Clapham Common, Kensington Park, Victoria Park. Areas for Speaker's Corner have been established in other countries and elsewhere in the UK as well. Now, I mean, just kind of looking at the history of this place, it's fantastic. Because this is an area where you do not have to book a slot. You can come in with your ideas and you can espouse your message. You are open to being heckled. You are open to have debates because someone else might disagree. You are open to also just be there and speak to you, and police will only interfere, and again, correct me if I'm wrong on this, police will only interfere if it's treason, so you're talking against the Queen, which is not allowed as treason, or if I think one person got arrested for profanity, or if you're trying to incite violence or riling people up so that they get violent. I think that's when, or if the police get a complaint. So if something you're saying is so causing so much issue, the police get a complaint, they can then decide to intervene. However, from my understanding, they always try to let these debates happen. It's a healthy part of society. It's a healthy part of living in a democratic state. That's effectively how we've got to where we are today in the world. Someone saying, look, I've got this idea. Someone saying, I've got this idea. You let the ideas battle each other out. And should I tell you why this is funny? Because now with the cult of intersectionality that we're getting accustomed to, where you have to pick a side, and regardless of what that side is doing, you just have to ride with them. That's not how we've got to where we've got to. People get surprised when they see Boris Johnson and whoever else from Labour arguing on TV, but then you'd be surprised that they're in the same pub, that in a House of Commons. These us went to the same schools. Some of these us grew up together. In front of you, yes, they're going to debate and argue these points because they think different, but they can still get on. They might not like each other to the point where they're inviting each other around for Christmas dinner every year, but there's a certain camaraderie between them to say, okay, look, this is your points, that's my points. I hate how you think, I hate your points of view. However, we can still get on. We still need to work together. And this is exactly what holds the country accountable. So this notion, this idea of freedom of speech, this idea of freedom of thought, this idea of you don't have the right to not to be offended. Because fundamentally, if I disagree with you, that's offensive in nature. If you think, like, just bear with me a second. If you think the way you view the world is the correct way to view the world, and here comes Sheps, Colgate Gang, and a beard saying, I disagree, that is offensive in nature. So we do not hold the right to not be offended. That is healthy. Growing up, it used to be debating, and because we do it all the time. If we start talking about music, who's your favorite artist? We're going to have a debate about that. I might say Eminem, you might say Jay-Z. We're going to have a debate about, no, this is why this one's great. Or look at this wordplay, look at this here, look at that here. That's healthy. Now, where we start to get issues is what you saw in that video. But before I go into that, let me give you a bit of information on Hatun Tash. Just because I know a lot of you won't know who she is, because you might not be entrenched in those circles. But basically, Hatun Tash lived in a Muslim country for 27 years, but now lives in the UK. She studied various topics at university, so I mean including bank management, accountancy, law, like basic human rights, maths, physics, engineering. So you could tell she's a smart lady. She's now a part of DCCI Ministries, and her mission is to effectively evangelize to those who haven't heard the Christian gospel. Have debates and discussions with people that might disagree, people that call her out on her points. And should I tell you why I like this style? It's because it sharpens you up as well. If I have a point, if I have a discussion, and you disagree with my point, you force me to think about what I think I know. I'm going to go back and do some research. Like, no. I can't get caught out like that again. I can't. I have to be right. Because if I'm espousing this as the truth, it has to be correct. So what she does is she engages with people, and mainly it's been Islam. And I think where she's made headway is there is when Muslim scholars are defending what's the right word to use? You know when a word just completely slips your mind, it's completely gone. It's gone. Bye bye word. But yes, what she does, or what she's got some notoriety for, I can't speak today as well. Notoriety? Someone correct me how to pronounce that. Put that little breakdown. Notoriety. I think that's it. Someone put that in the comments. Someone put that in the comments. But yeah, so where she's made some headway is so basically there's this defense of Islam to say the Quran has been perfectly preserved, meaning from the day it was spoken, and written down to today, there's not a single word that's been changed. That's what tells you it's holy. That's what tells you it comes from God. And this is the defense from, well, it was a traditional defense from Muslim scholars. But now what's happened is, I think Hatun Tash in her travels, she's been interested in Islam, coming from a Islamic country or living in an Islamic country. She wanted to do some more research. So she's gone on holiday, I think it was Morocco, if I'm not mistaken, but she didn't have a Quran in her. She's gone in and asked, can you just give me a Quran? The person in the shop said, which one? So immediately that was alarm bells. What do you mean, which one? I thought there was only the one. So through that, she started collecting them, people sending them loads. So now she's built up this argument of saying, okay, guys, one of your big defenses for your religion is that it's been perfectly preserved. But here's evidence to say it's not been perfectly preserved. What do you say to that? And obviously, back and forth debates. You've had people like David Wood that's been involved, Sam Shamoon that's been involved, Jay Smith, who's been a big proponent as well of effectively looking at the historical Islam, which to me is healthy. People do it to Christianity all the time. People do it to Judaism all the time, to all other religions, all other thought process philosophies that get investigated. This is what science is. Science is the art of disproving. Someone says this is correct and you try to disprove it. And you will either affirm it to say, yes, you are correct, or no, this is where you went wrong. So this has been happening for as long as we've been here. I was trying to think of a time period, but basically, as long as we've been here. So what's now happened is, rolling on, many years later, she's now in Speaker's Corner. Now, there was a infamous or famous interview now between Mohammed Hijab, who's another Muslim apologist, and Yasser Qati, who's I think she's Sheikh Yasser Qati, so he's considered a great man within Islam scholarship. They had an interview on Mohammed Hijab's channel where they were just discussing these revelations in terms of, wait, we've grown up being taught that the Quran's never been changed from day one to now. But all these things are coming out. And Yasser Qati, in the interview, was trying to take Mohammed Hijab away from the topic. And he was saying, look, we don't want to speak about this right now. And he said there's holes in the narrative. So, obviously, David Wood and Sam Shamoon, and being the comedians they are, they've made this into a whole phrase. And I think through that, Hatun Tash has ended up having a Quran which has got holes in it. And as we all know, defacing the Quran is offensive to Muslims. In addition to that, there's been some things that have been happening in France. I do need to do a little bit more research into what's been going on in France, but there's been some attacks, and I think that, if I'm not mistaken, they're based on drawings of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. So, which again is not allowed in Islam. So all these things, they're not allowed. They might be offensive. However, they're not directly affecting someone else's ability to live their life. This is where I come in now and tying it in with this free speech. Is it offensive? Yes, it is. Yes, it is offensive. Should you get physically harmed for it? I disagree. Because from time immemorial, Christianity has been getting the same scrutiny. I've got family members, they laugh at me for being a Christian. You're following the white man's religion, everything else. But I've never once said, you know what, I'm gonna slap someone because you insulted my faith. It's never even come across my mind. It's you disagree. Oh well, that's you. Okay, you disagree. Just let me do my thing. Just let me do what I believe to be correct. So now what's happened is in this on this day in Speaker's Corner, what basically happens is when she's trying to put out her message, you get hecklers, which again, as we've gone through before, it is a part of Speaker's Corner, part of Speaker's Corner's history. I mean, in Speaker's Corner, you've had Karl Marx, you've had Vladimir Lenin, you've had Kwame Nkrumah, who have all spoken. It's a historic place, just in world history, not just in London, not just in England, in world history. So hecklers do come. People that want to defend the religion, people that want to defend their ideologies and their way of thinking. So in that process, this gentleman, either he's had enough, I don't know what was running through this guy's head, but as you can see in the video, he slapped her Toontash. To me, this is despicable behavior from this gentleman. This is despicable behavior from this gentleman. Not only are you striking someone for having a difference in opinion to you, on top of that, you're striking a female. As a man, that is despicable. On top of that, you're attacking someone who's done nothing to you physically. Okay, look, I don't condone violence. I don't condone hitting women. I'm not with the domestics. But if a Toontash had a baseball bat trying to strike him and he defended himself, fair enough. But all they was doing is going in back and forths, trading insults, as you can see in the video, and he struck this her tune. The reason I thought this is important for us to speak about is because I'm yet to come across any of the scholars in Islam condemning this behavior, but at the same time they'll preach it's a religion of peace. And again, this is not a criticism on all Muslims. It's not. My criticism is on us that say we love free speech and it should be defended. Why isn't there outrage that this was able to happen? That's who I'm trying to criticize. All these people that are marching for free speech, to stop oppression, for women's rights, for women's ability. Yo, this shout out to her tune, because she's got a pair in her that a lot of people don't have. Knowing that you're putting yourself in harm's way potentially, but you want to engage in debate. She's now suffered as a result. And it could have been worse if it weren't for the people that then intervened. Why is this not on the news? You want to talk about when a celebrity gets pregnant or when why is this not on? This is happening in one of the most historical places in the world. This is happening between a very, very contentious discussion that happens between Christians and Muslim people on an academic level anyway, in terms of the difference in ideas. Why is this not on the news? Where are the feminists that are enraged about this happening? Why is that? Can I ask that? If you know the answer, please put it in the comments. Please put this in the comments below. I just wanted to shed some light on it. Now, as I've mentioned, and this will probably get taken out of context, I might even get some backlash for it. Oh well. You make your bed, you lay in it. Why is this not on the news? Why is no one talking about this? I've not seen this on my news feed. I've not seen this anywhere. If it is out there, please correct me. Please. Outside of the apologetics community, especially just the Christian apologetics community, and you got Apostate Prophet as well, who is a former Muslim, but he's atheist. I've not heard this mentioned by anyone else. And we've got video of this. This is a lady who is trying to engage in academic debate, regardless if you agree with her methods of taunting or of causing offense, this is an academic discussion being struck down, and what? Nothing's happening? Is this acceptable to you guys? That's my question I'm going to leave you with. Is this acceptable to you guys? Because if the answer is yes, we're going down, or we're reaching a point of no return. If you're saying yes, if someone's offended, they've got the right to then physically attack you, we've reached the point of no return. This ties back in to what's been going on with the riots and everything else. We're reaching the point of no return, and this is not meant to be me saying she's better than anyone else or I'm better than anyone else. But let's protect that diversity of thought. That's what I'm saying. Please, can we protect that? And how do we do that? We have to stand up against things like this. We have to stand. I'm not talking about how valid our arguments are. I'm not talking about how valid. Who's valid? Can someone tell me who valid is? I'm not talking about how valid the opponent's arguments are. I'm talking about the right for you to be able to have those arguments without fearing for your life. We claim to be about human rights. We claim to be about protecting those who can't protect themselves. We claim to be about uplifting women. Where's the outrage? I'm not calling anyone to violence. I'm not saying go find this man and attack him. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, where is the light being shown on this to ensure that there's awareness and things like this don't happen again? Because this time, yes, you got away with a slap. It quickly escalates, because what happens if someone knows, okay, I could get away with a slap, tomorrow's going to be a punch. Next thing you know, we've lost someone. And I would not want this happening to anyone of any race or religion. You should have the ability to speak your mind, speak your thoughts, speak your philosophy, and you let the arguments fight. Diversity of thought. That's what I want. That's what I'm fighting for. The ability for me and you to think different without you being in fear of your life from me, and vice versa. And if we disagree and we hate each other, we never want to talk again, we just go our separate ways. But more times than not, you will realise that we've got more in common than we have not in common. So I just wanted to bring this up, guys. Let me know what you think. Am I talking nonsense? Is this a non-issue? Why should you care? I don't know, but to me, it's been on my mind. I can't even lie to you. It's been on my mind. This is not acceptable, guys. It's not acceptable. Thank you for tuning in. I go by the name of Shepherd. My friends call me Sheps. Call me whatever you want. As long as it's not Oi, we can have a discussion. I'll see you next time.